we're a technology company. We're called Software Productivity Strategist. We're based outside of DC in Rockville, Maryland, USA, and we have an office here in National Science and Technology Park at NUST H12 Islamabad campus. We essentially are a digital solutions builder, and we help companies that includes enterprises as well as new startups. We essentially are the engineering and product arm. This is the agenda for today's session. I'll share with you in 2, 3 slides about who we are and what we do. Then I'll pass it on to Dr. Qamar Sharif to share with you more on the oil well monitoring final year project idea and what kind of support we can provide to you if you opt to choose this final year project. And the last item on agenda will be an open forum, which will be an opportunity for you to connect with Dr. Qamar to ask any questions. So a bit about SPS. We have been in business for the past more than 25 years, better part of last 3 decades. Um, we started originally in the US in early 90s. We are in business in Pakistan since early 2000s, and during these decades, we have served customers globally. The major markets are US, Pakistan, and the Middle Eastern region. The industries that we have been engaged in, this span well over more than a dozen industries. This includes primarily or a major being military, telecom, banking, public sector, and so on. Uh, we do encourage, we actually, as I mentioned at the beginning of this session, we work with many startups. We help them convert their ideas. There are people who have many decades of experience and they want to create this new product. So we work with them to convert that idea into a product that would eventually sell in the global markets. And in the process, we also invest in startups. These are the different teams that we have. Most of the innovation and what Dr. Qamar will be sharing with you today nowadays requires certain core pillars. Um, some of the core pillars include, capabilities in data science, leveraging IoT, leveraging computer vision, leveraging analytics, predictive, prescriptive analytics. And so we have a team that you see on the top left, which is called the AI and development team. This team essentially does all the coding. These are the people who write the code and who leverage the data science capabilities. This team is facilitated by our cloud team. So if you should write an application, whether it's a web, mobile, or a desktop application, that piece of software has to be deployed on a specific infrastructure. It could be your mobile phone, it could be your laptop, it could be cloud, or it could be a server somewhere at your another location. So this cloud team, they manage all the infrastructure and deployments. And then there is a security team. Nowadays, security is key aspect. Even Dr. Qamar would be sharing with you the importance of security in the final year project problem statement. So the security team works in tandem with these two groups to ensure that the data, whether it's in rest or motion, the devices, the networks, all of the components of the system are secure. And then there are a couple of other groups which provide support, like when a product goes into production, maintaining that product, providing the help desk support and the operations support. There's a QA team that does the QA and testing, and then there is an enablement team. The enablement team's job is to enable the customers, enable the companies, the startups and enterprises into the for the solutions that have been built for them. These are some of the companies that we've served the past 3 decades. This include, within telecom, Telenor, Ufone, PTCL, Zong. Some of the overseas include Time Warner, Verizon, AT&T, Etisalat. Then we've done work in auto and transport. BMW used to be an account. Banking and finance, public sector. We worked with the forces, with the state accounts in the US. We worked with the manufacturing sector, General Electric, Keysight, British Petroleum, Schneider, food and travel, and so on. So these are some of the experiences that we have as a company, and through our innovation lab, which is Spin Labs, Many of you might have received an email from us. Many of you might have heard about this webinar from some of your friends and colleagues. We have this innovation lab called Spin Labs. And through this innovation lab, we are essentially bringing the opportunities, the industry opportunities to our students and faculty. These opportunities include learning, professional development, as well as earning opportunities. And in pursuit of that mission, we are bringing some very specific industry problems that we see in the industry to the academia. And there's a bunch of problem statements. They are in telecom, they're in education, and they're in oil and gas sector. And there are a few more in healthcare also. And the purpose of this webinar is to share with you where the owner of that problem statement shares with you in detail the what's expected, what kind of support they will be providing to you, and how you can reach out to us. So with this, I'll stop and hand it over to Dr. Qamar Sharif to share with you about the oil well monitoring.
Assalamu alaikum, Hashim, and welcome everyone. So we will be talking about production monitoring of an oil and gas well. Okay, we are proposing this final year project to our young students because when I was student myself at University Lahore, I went to cement industry because my major was mining. So I met with Mr. Razak, who was the manager in the cement plant. And I asked him that I want to do some real good work. I don't want to copy and paste and take some pictures and then write a final year project report. I really want to learn and do something. So he told me, he said, Qamar, I'm glad you came, but most of our students these days, they they just don't want a banana. They want banana with somebody who can peel it for them. They don't want to bother to peel the banana to eat it. Okay, so first of all, the objective of telling the story is that I'm glad that you are here because it shows me your interest and intent that you really want to work. Now, uh, I feel very passionate about this issue that our industry and our academia, they are not very well connected like in many other parts of the world and in US and not only that, we are not as good as our neighbor India because people from India, they are, you know, uh, in the IT business especially, they have been making waves for the last 20 years. So our objective from this is that whatever the project you are trying to do, if you can uh, uh, do something which will enhance your learning, the practical aspect of things. You will develop some skills because at the university you get academic knowledge from the books, but we want to actually do something which will help you develop some skills which you can use. And our honest objective is that anything you are thinking of doing, either this project or any other project, you should think that, okay, you want to do something which will be a startup. Okay, you can have your own company. So when today you go home, you ask your mom that, Ammi, please pray for me that I become capable, that I not only looking for a job myself, but I can employ 50 or 100 more people. So you should have that ambition in you. And any startup starts with this first question in mind that, okay, uh, what is, who is the customer? What the customer need? if he has a problem, I can solve a problem. So if you start with this thing from in the real world, then you will be, inshallah, successful. Okay, what we really want to do, that there are maybe at least uh, total 1,000 wells in Pakistan. Okay, so they are in different locations. So the production rate is measured from the flow rate, and then it is transformed into gallons per day for the oil, or the 1,000 cubic feet for gas, and same barrels oil per day or barrels water per day for the water. Okay, so we want to uh, take this production measurement from any well site and then bring it to your laptop and bring it to your smartphone so that any manager, any company employee who have the ability to look at specific well data, well production data, he can just click on his smartphone and get the production data. Okay, and data security is extremely important because these days a lot of data is on the cloud, and so you need to ensure that the data is secure. Okay, and if we can also transmit the well temperature and pressure, that will be an added benefit. Okay, and then if we can measure this for one well, imagine that we can, there are 10 or 12 or 50 wells in one field. So if you can measure this, you do replicate this one uh, application to 10 or 20 wells in the field, then you have a data from the whole field. And if there are 15, 20 oil companies and they can all do that, then the whole country, the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Resources, they can see which field is producing how much. And then when you are monitoring this data in real time, you can actually do a lot of wonderful things with this data. And it can be used as a diagnostic tool, because any well you see that the temperature, the pressure is dropping, or the flow rate is slightly dropping, then you can immediately understand that there is some issue in the well, which otherwise you will probably know 24 hours after you get the information with the current state of affair. Okay. So where are the wells? Most of the oil, gas wells, they are in remote locations. Okay. So some of the wells are located where we have electricity and we have mobile phone coverage area. Some other wells, they will have electricity, but no mobile coverage area. And then the third scenario is that there is no electricity and there's no mobile phone coverage, totally a remote location, which is very rare, because I was talking to OGDCL and I was talking to PPL and some other companies, and nowadays most of their wells, they have electricity and also the national telecommunication. They have installed a antenna there for the mobile phone coverage so that people can talk and have communication. Okay. So what is oil well? So on the right, you will see a typical oil well, okay, or a gas well. So this thing is called Christmas tree. Okay, after completing drilling of the well, so there's a casing, and then we have a bottom spool. So let me move your eyes towards the left, where you can see the line diagram of the picture, which is on the right. So the first is the low swab wall at the bottom. Then we have the master swab wall, and then we have two wings, right is the production line, a primary wing well, and the left is the kill wing well. We term it kill line. And then we have a swab valve on the top, and then we can have a pressure gauge on the top. So this is a typical well after completion, after drilling, when it is put on production. This is how it looks. Okay. Then if I go back to the previous, if you notice that from this well, from after the choke, there's a line going away. So in this case, here is a white line going away. So whatever the well is producing, be it oil, be it gas, be it water, because when it comes from the subsurface, it comes as a crude. Okay, it's mixture of oil, water, and gas. So this goes into the separator. So on the left, you see a typical three-phase separator, which is a horizontal. The same separator can be configured if there is less space, that we can put it vertical. So this whole cylindrical body is actually 90 degrees rotated. Okay, so this is on the, if you look on the right side in the line diagram, you will see that oil, a water, a gas is coming from the well output, is coming from this line into the separator, and as it falls down, water, because of natural uh, gravity segregation, it falls down. Oil is lighter, so it moves up, and then there is a separator wall. The oil flows up. So when oil flows up, it falls over little screen, which makes it a little bit spread, and any gas dissolved into the oil that comes out. So from the top, with the yellow color, we see this is a gas phase which we collect, and then here is a measuring device, and which measures the flow rate and the temperature and pressure the gas goes out. The oil settles here and it goes out to the oil output. And then the water, we can drain the water from below and uh, take it away, because remember, when this water is produced from the well, it is contaminated. It's not potable water. It has might be some gas part, some oil in it. So that need to be treated and disposed of. In fact, some wells where we H2S, H2S is a hydrogen sulfide gas, which is very poisonous. So when that gas comes, we need to be extra uh, careful. I know there's a autocoil company which is now on, which is now called Pakistan Oil Fields Limited in Mayal Field. That's where I started my career in 1980. POL was my first company, and maybe some of you, most of you was probably not born then. Okay, so uh, we had few wells from where we are getting H2S, and they were so up to 20, 30 percent gas from the total gas phase, and we had to install sulfur extraction plant so that we can produce sulfur. So anything which comes out of oil, a gas well, not only we take oil, but there are multiple other byproducts which are made out of hydrocarbons. For example, if you see a water bottle where you drink your water, that water bottle is made out with hydrocarbons. Okay, so that's a separate subject. But since so this three-phase separator, that's where the flow rate is measured. Okay, here's a picture of another separator, that how the measurements take place on the separator. On the left, you can see that separator is actually mounted in an oil field skid. And then we have charts and diagram recorders. and on the right, you can see that a person is taking a sample of the crude oil from the separator, oil phase, gas phase, and water phase, just for analysis. Okay, so we will collect our data from this separator. And by the way, most of the oil companies and most of the wells, they have a separator and there are flow meters installed. So maybe there are some manual, but different locations have different configurations. So we can get this number that what is their production, uh, because we can always translate flow rate into daily production. Okay, so that data, we can install a sensor and get that information. So that depends on which well you are assigned to, and when you go to a well location, what is the configuration there. So you have to start from there. Okay, so these are the uh, so then what we do with that data. Okay, if it is a gas well or the oil well, I have shown these two wells separately here, but there could be only one well, so it is producing oil and gas and water, all the three phases. Okay, then we collect that data and through the modem or some other arrangement, we send that data to the internet, and then we send it to the data server that could be in the cloud, and then we have a firewall, and then we put that data for monitoring. You might have to interface this arrangement of data with some already existing mechanisms, because I know OGDC, they had IBM software, and now they are switching to SAP. So they will need probably a configuration that how they can switch all their data format to SAP. Okay, okay. So this is the project. Now I will give you a little bit one step ahead, which is the roadmap. And this, for example, if you are computer or data science majors, what you need to do? You need to make a statement of the work and say, okay, what is the state of technology now? So before I go this one here, let me actually go to our uh, SPS website and go to innovation and oil and gas. And this is the website. I hope everybody can see this. Okay, if you have not been to this website, it is very simple. It is spsnet.com. And then you can go in the verticals and go to oil and gas. Okay, so below you will see here Shell, Saudi Aramco, Schlumberger, Microsoft, Marathon Oil, Phillips 66, Exxon, Aramco. Next is a company of Schlumberger. It's a training company. Chevron, BP, and Sensia. So if I go to Shell, for example, and I encourage all of you to go to this website and click on these small icons and see what is going on in the world. So this is Shell. They have a website for their innovation, and they have a lot of things here, innovators, business model, and they actually run some marathon, and then they have that you can actually submit some ideas here, and if you win, they give you money to work on those ideas. So artificial intelligence, how that can be applied into oil and gas business. So you can scroll these and go read these two articles. There are some small video clips you can see. So I encourage you to look at the web. There's tons of information there. Okay, so if you go to investors, okay, you don't have money. If you can go to carriers. Okay, so energy and innovation is our main focus. Okay, so you can explore anything. How you I mean, you keep going and look what Shell is doing and my objective is to show you and encourage you that anything you want to do for your project, you want to look at what is the state of the industry currently. Okay. Okay, so let me go back to previous one. So if you are the computer science or data science major, so you can look at what is currently being done, what is the technology survey, we call it. Okay, and then opportunities and what is the value proposition. Then when you collect the data, you can use Internet of Things. This is again very interesting idea, because I was talking to some companies and they were thinking, okay, how we will provide the linkage to university students to go to one field and go to one well, all that. So then we thought that actually, if you want to work on this project, you can actually create a dummy data, okay, well parameters, and then you can do the analytics and trigger alerts and also show this data on the dashboard to the management. And you can, uh, because our objective, like I said earlier, is that when you start working on this, you should have this thing in mind, that I want to have a startup company of my own when I start working on this. This should become your career. But our second shot is that if you don't get to that level of startup, you should be actually uh, get to a level that after you have worked on this project, you can talk to Shell, you can talk to ExxonMobil, you can tell them that, okay, this is what I did for master, for my final year project, and they will be happy to offer you a decent job because you are already ahead. You have learned some skills while working on this project, which are practical, valuable skills, and that can give you increase your employment possibilities. At the same time, if you, our objective is to bring you from your university, from your home, to and expose you to the world, to the university, to the oil and gas industry. Okay, there are people who are like a kuएं के मेंढक. They are in the well, so when they look up, they see the total sky, what they can see from the well. So people who are standing on the ground, they can see bigger horizon. People who are standing on the top of a mountain or they are on a fourth, fifth story building, they have a bigger vision. So we want you to stand up and stand tall and look around you and become, a global player. You think locally, but you think globally, but you act locally. Okay, so what if computer or data science majors, what skills they will require? They will probably, if they know what data scientists do, how we can develop a mobile app, or if they have little idea of cloud engineering, then they can think of that, okay, if they collect data, they probably will have to develop a cloud app in Kubernetes, or maybe if they are trying to develop a mobile app, it will be in the iOS or Android system. And then there are different companies, IBM, Amazon, and Google, and as well, they have different apps which they already do. So you can do market surveys and look uh, around and search and see what these tools are, what they can do, because you really don't have to invent a wheel. Okay, there are already few things. For example, I recall that when we were graduating, there was one of our group decided that they want to build a wristwatch, which is a digital watch, electronic watch, and you can see the time, which was like run on a lithium battery. But okay, doing it and building it locally may be a good project, But in those days, you could buy those small watches for 50 or 100 rupees made in China. So you want to do something which will add value. Okay, so you have to see the economics. That's why if you start working on this, then we'll also tell you that when you work on any other project or this project, you have to make some assessment on the total addressable market. We call it TAM, TAM. Okay, so you have to start developing some business skills, some people skills, and some also you want to become technical savvy that you do some technical solutions as well. Okay, if you are an electrical engineering major, then you want to do the statement of work, and you again do the state of survey and how it is as it's now, and you what is the architecture, what is the options. Okay, if somebody has already done this, you don't have to develop a new sensor which can measure the flow rate or the pressure or the production rate. There are already sensors available, and you can buy those in dozens. Okay, so you want to understand where you can add value. Okay, and what is your value proposition? What is the difficulty when you start talking to oil and gas company? You tell them, okay, I want to do this project. You talk to production engineer, you talk to uh, reservoir engineers, you talk to their, chief information officer, CIO, and some other people who are working in the IT industry. Because these days, IT is in every other technology. Okay, so you have to, in fact, we will recommend that if your university allows some of the professors who are in this webinar, that they can actually initiate a multidisciplinary team. Okay, let me move on. So from electrical, if you are a business major, you need to do statement of work. Okay, what is the state of affair? Then you need to start thinking about what is deliverable. Okay, and what is the requirement. Okay, what is needed, people who will use this, and how I can develop this, how I can build a prototype. Okay, and then uh, what is the business plan? What is total addressable market? Okay, what is market in Pakistan? What is market in the Middle East? What is market globally? Okay, so you will probably need, if you want to do a multidisciplinary, then you will need one business major, one technical person, one marketing, one finance person, and then you are deliver what you will put a design document, you will build a prototype. Okay, and then the tool, one is ELM, and then the other one is the business model canvas, where you can build your business models. And then if you are a petroleum engineer, or you can benefit from this webinar. Okay, so you on this final year project, the data which will be collected, how you can uh, analyze the data. Okay, then you can feed this data into real-time data center, and then you can do real-time well diagnostic by looking at the trends. If uh, production is dropping in one well or from one field, you can immediately know there's something wrong. What is going on? How I can resolve this issue? So you address the problem at the first sign of the problem. Like people say that if you are getting sick, the first sign you get, if you take preventive measures, you can avoid getting sick. But if you don't listen to that sign or signal, and it takes you one day, then second day probably you are too late and you are already sick. So this tool can help you taking preventive measures and avoiding other issues, your disasters, a shutdown of the well, a total production stop, and things like that. Okay, so this is one slide which I picked up. Uh, this is when we started our first SIG. SIG is the special interest group in innovation and oil and gas. We have about 50 industry specialist people who are member of this group, and we thought that we really want our youngsters to start the innovation and start thinking using IT tools and be innovative, not just graduate, but have this thinking that they want to solve some problem. Okay, so they develop this thing and see how the process and people and technology work together, and we measure, we monitor, and we optimize, and this whole new concept of intelligent wells or intelligent fields that we integrate technologies, people, and processes. So from June 12 to today, we have come forward, and this is the project which has many different aspects. So this is, I just wanted to share with you that we will help you in this process. Okay, and but first of all, you have to be willing to help yourself to work on this project and pick and think, and we will be presenting maybe more of these seminars in the future, and we will try to connect you with industry, and probably you might already have somebody, some relative working in some industry. Okay, so with this, I will open up for questions.
Yeah, this is Hussain Ahmed. Really appreciate Dr. Saab your wonderful presentation. So, well, I'm working in ABB Germany as a global digital product manager, and I have ordered to work on a couple of projects with SPS and also met Dr. Saab. So, very nice to have you guys here. A couple of questions from my side. Who will be the consumers of this product? Only the managers of OGDC or some site people? Then I think you have already answered. Those wells are located in different locations, right? All over the Pakistan. And then the third one is, do they need event alerts messages that, okay, in, let's say, oil well 2022, there is an overflow or there is a power failure or something?
Okay, Hussain Ahmed sir, thank you for asking questions, very good questions. So you have probably let me sum up. Number one, the consumer or the end product user will be oil and gas companies. But you see, if you can put a sensor from at point A, say in Karachi, and then you put another sensor at point 2, which is Multan, which is Sui gas pipeline. So when you monitor those two places simultaneously, then you should also have a that okay, whatever is flowing in the gas from point A, be it LPG, be it oil, be it gas, okay, and point B. So if the flow rate is the same, what is input is equal to output, it means that your whole line has a line integrity. But if the output is less, it means there is some pilferage, there is some leak in your system. So that can be you can put these two sensors at two different points and measure those in your office in Islamabad, or maybe even in Germany, or anywhere in the world these days. Okay, right now, for example, I am in Istanbul, Turkey now, but I'm talking to you in Pakistan, and you are connected. So with the Internet of Things, you can do anything anywhere. So this could be not only, for example, refineries, they can use these sensors and tools to monitor at point A and point B, and then see if their pipeline integrity is in place. And there could be 101 applications in different scenarios, not only in producing wells. You can use this information when we are drilling the wells. Okay, and so there are consumers not only in Pakistan. If you can develop something which can be successfully prototype used in Pakistan, then obviously it can be used in Africa is a big continent. Okay, most of the people have been looking into Middle East for oil and gas, but Africa is exploring, booming. So there in US, in Alaska, in Gulf of Mexico, in Australia, and Malaysia, anywhere. If you have a product which is, this is when you want to do something. This is how innovation is defined. Okay, if somebody is doing something already. Okay, for example, China is making electric car, or Tesla have made electric car. Why somebody else will make it? Because it will be cheaper, it will be economical. Okay, so anything which is being done right now, some companies are already doing all this what we are talking. Okay, but they are paying a lot more money. So if you can do it in a cheaper way, that is innovation. If you can do it in a secure way, less risk, then this is innovation. So you don't have to invent the wheel to be innovator. So there is subtle difference between an invention uh, and innovation. Okay. So your third question, I think I have answered all your three
Yes,
questions.
already.
Okay.
And one more additional thing. So, how do you expect your sensors to be connected over some field bus, or they are going to be hardware?
I don't think the way wells are scattered all over the world, offshore and anywhere,
No, no.
they
I
cannot
mean to the
be.
local, to the local station, to the local station. So you
It,
must
it
have a
is it
certain.
is it is up to people what they
Okay.
want to propose, what they want to work. We are leaving a lot of things open-ended because we don't want to spoon feed the students. We want them to think. We
Ah,
want
great.
them to work, and we will hold their hand if they want. But the first example I gave this when we started, that we encourage people to think, do something which, if they have done 4-year degree and will be graduating next year, they have acquired economic knowledge. Academic knowledge, we encourage them to learn something practical, develop some skill, and see what they can solve the problem. Okay, so the problem
Very
solution
good.
mindset need to be developed. Some people, when they will work on this project, sometime in life, people are so focused in getting to the destination that they forget to enjoy the journey. So this journey of 1 year will will make them a better person overall. That is our assumption. That is
Excellent.
our
Brilliant. Thank you.
objective. Thank you.
Really
Okay,
appreciate.
I see a few more hands.
Thank you very much. This is Mohammad Rizwan Latif. I am working as a lecturer at Petroleum and Gas Engineering Department, UAT Lahore. Thank you, sir. Dr. Qamar Sharif, thank you very much for this informative presentation. I just want to get clarified about a few things. Firstly, there is an application or tool, and I'm pretty much sure that you would be very well familiar with the tool itself and its capabilities, which we call as the supervisory control and data acquisition (SCADA).
Yes.
So, sir, one thing that I would like to know from you is that how different this particular tool or application that you want to develop is going to be from the conventional or available SCADA that we have nowadays. Number one. Number two, sir, in the problem statement, you have mentioned that that there is no availability of electricity or internet at the location from where we want to transmit data. So for me, when I look at it as a person with petroleum engineering majors, the skill set that you have mentioned in your slides and the possible abilities that we can do with this data is it will come in only when the data gets transmitted to the petroleum engineering domain or the people who have to play with the data and analyze the trends and make some interpretations. So my second question would be that when we are looking at this particular aspect, there is no internet available over there. So what possibly can be the mode of transmission or how we can transmit data from that location to the end user? These are the two questions, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rizwan Latif Sahab. Okay. First of all, I am well familiar with SCADA, but unfortunately, there are some SCADA is expensive. Okay, if you have developed the SCADA system, you have installed it, okay, you are monitoring it. But even now in Pakistan, some wells, data is recorded by hand on a sheet of paper, and then it is faxed to the nearby office. Or in the old days, it used to be communicated over the radio verbally, and somebody will write it down. So what we are trying to do is that lift that data from the well location or from the field of all the 10 wells and then transmit to the cloud, and then it can be used anywhere they want. Or obviously, if company has a SCADA system, they will plug this data into their SCADA system. So collecting the data is one part of the problem. Then data analyzing is another part, and then building the hardware is another part. So this whole project can be split into multiple sections, and each person with their strength and with their capabilities, they can work on their respective component. And but we will really ask people, all the students and faculty who are in this, that if they have passion or if they find some interest in some part of this work, they should write maybe a one-page summary, a proposal, what they really want to do. Okay, so we will then help them, coach them one-on-one, and see how best we can. Then, because we plan to offer one or two or maybe more webinars of similar nature, maybe with different projects with the same thing. We want the students to actually do something which will make them more valuable, like I said earlier. Okay, I don't know. I normally say this, that I want one of this from you to actually be able to develop a product and have a startup company in a few years. Then he will not be looking for a job. He will probably offer a job to 50 more people. Okay, so on the locations, I checked with the OGDC and PPL before coming here. So most of the wells, the locations, be it in Balochistan or in Kohart, they have electricity and they have communication towers installed. So they are in the mobile phone coverage area. Okay, so I hope that answers your second question. So we have Muhammad Qasim. So yes.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam.
My name is Qasim Anan and I am lecturer at University of Wa. and I'm teaching in mechatronics engineering department. Recently, I have done project like this IoT based patient monitoring system. So with that, uh, I have 2 or 3 questions related to this project. Is there any controller restriction from your side?
Your answer is no. No.
Okay. And then is there any restrictions on sensors? We can use any type of sensor for calculating, for sensing the flow rate of oil, gas, and water.
Yes. No
Okay.
restriction. Whatever you want to do. Yes.
Can you please tell me the accuracy or precision do you need in your project? Flow rate.
You see, that reminds me a story when I was with Shell in US. We had maybe 20 PhDs in a group in the Bel Air Technology Research Center, and I was probably the only one actually who worked as a driller and tower pusher on an oil well offshore rig when I went there. So I used to tell them that when we are doing calculations for pressure, generally we go to 2 decimals. Okay, pressure is uh, 14.73. Okay, but in the field, in reality, if you can on the gauge, if you can tell a difference between 10 and 20, you will be lucky.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I hope I have answered your question.
Yes,
That
sir.
yeah, so if you can calibrate, and if you have 5 ton psi off, that's okay.
Okay. Sir, can you tell me the pressure of the oil or a gas which is coming out of the separator?
Generally, by the time it comes to the separator, the pressure
Yes,
is
sir.
maybe 100, 200 psi, not much.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because you have to actually put a pressure into it to pump it to your gathering tank in the field. Okay, so at the surface when it comes to that, it's very, very maybe 50 psi.
Okay. Sir, do you want to real-time monitoring from your mobile phone or hourly basis or a daily basis output of the well?
It is up to you. We are leaving it open because if you have access to the data, you can access it anytime. When you click the app, you can see what is the flow rate now, and it should translate into production rate per day.
Okay.
If you know this flow rate now, then you can convert it into production rate per day.
Okay.
If you are taking your flow rate in gallons per minute or 1,000 cubic feet per uh, you know standard cubic
Okay.
feet per hour or per minute, you can convert that.
Okay. Sir, one last question. You said that some of areas in Pakistan in which this type of system is installed. Can you tell me the price of that system that they installed in different locations?
आपको पता है कि आजकल दुनिया में जो भी चीज़ है वो अगर आप अमेज़न से खरीदें तो उसकी और कीमत है, अगर आप दराज से खरीदें तो उसकी और कीमत है, अगर आप अली बाबा से खरीदें तो उसकी और कीमत है. Price is okay when you do the business modeling. Price is important, but then you need to see if what value you can add. If you can develop something like this and you have a concept, then you need to do your own market survey. That okay, मैं ये जो चीज बना रहा हूँ ये कहाँ से कितने कितने की मिलती है. And if you go to Google, or you can go to any place, you can go to Amazon and put the description, and they will give you at the same website. Somebody is selling it for $10, some is selling for $20, some is selling for $7. So yeah, I think I have answered your questions. Okay. Okay, we have a question from Sadia. Ji Sadia, please go ahead.
Sir, मैं chat box में लिख देती हूँ.
Okay, I have the question. So Sadi is asking, sir, sir, I have a question that should our solution feasible for all three scenarios, or it can be okay for anyone?
It will be okay for anyone. If you want to pick the easy one, that will be your best bet. Yeah, okay. We welcome everyone who joined this webinar, and we want to keep the conversation, and we want to encourage young people to do few things marvelous and drive your own future, be innovative. Okay, this is something you want to work if you have passion for this, or you can think other things. Okay, we are not limiting you. This is, we have, because when final year students come in final year, they go to their advisor, the advisors are busy in other thing, teaching classes, students are busy in courses and blah, 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 and they don't know what to work on. So we thought, okay, we'll throw this. Okay, this is an opportunity if you want to work in. There could be multiple projects out of this one proposal, which is a real world problem. Okay, so we wish you best of luck, and we can help you in any way. But to seek help, you also know that what help you need. Okay, so think about it. Go to the website links we have and look what other companies are doing. You might get some other idea, and we want to encourage innovation. We want people to think and become problem solvers and not just जी मुझे कोई नौकरी दे दें. आप खुद को प्रॉब्लम ढूंढें, खुद इनोवेटिव हो, खुद उसका सोल्यूशन निकालें एंड एंटरप्रेन्योर बने. Okay, that is our objective. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Dr. Qamar. Thank you for your time and an excellent presentation. I hope this was useful, and all of you can reach out to us if you would like to get in touch with Dr. Qamar, or you would need any help or guidance, be it on the domain side, that is oil and gas, or on the technology side, like Dr. Qamar was mentioning. Send us an email at spinlab@spsnet.com. This email address can be seen in the chat window, and we'll be very happy to talk to you. So thank you all for joining, and we wish you a good evening.
Allah Hafiz.